There are moments in life when it feels as if heaven has gone silent. You pray, you wait, you hope, and yet nothing seems to change. Days turn into months, and months sometimes turn into years. In those moments, it is easy to believe that your prayers have been ignored or forgotten. But what if the delay is not a rejection? What if the waiting itself is part of the answer? Just because a door has not opened yet does not mean it never will. Sometimes God is working behind the scenes in ways your eyes cannot see and your mind cannot yet understand. The seed beneath the soil appears lifeless before it becomes a tree. In the same way, many blessings are growing in the unseen long before they arrive in your hands. The delay may be protecting you, preparing you, or guiding you towards something greater than what you originally imagined. Today, we will explore why waiting is not a punishment, why silence is not abandonment, and how trusting God's timing can transform the way you see your journey. One of the hardest truths to accept is that growth often happens where we cannot see it. We live in a world that celebrates visible progress, quick results, and instant answers. Yet some of the most important transformations take place in silence. When God delays, He may be doing a deeper work within you before He changes what is around you. Waiting has a way of revealing your fears, strengthening your faith, and teaching lessons that success alone could never teach. Think about a sculptor shaping a masterpiece. Before anyone admires the final creation, countless hours are spent carving, refining, and removing what does not belong. In the same way, God may be shaping your character while you focus only on the outcome. The opportunity you desire may be on its way, but first you are becoming the person capable of carrying it. What feels like inactivity may actually be preparation. What feels like a closed door may be protection. And what feels like a delay may be a sacred season of growth. If you can trust that something meaningful is happening even when you cannot see it, the waiting becomes less about frustration and more about transformation. Sometimes the greatest miracle is not what arrives at the end of the journey, but who you become while walking through it. Faith becomes real when life stops making sense. It is easy to trust when everything is going according to plan, but true trust is revealed when the path ahead is unclear. Many people give up on their dreams not because they lack talent or desire, but because they become discouraged by the distance between where they are and where they want to be. Yet some of the most inspiring stories begin with seasons of uncertainty. When God delays, He invites you to rely on something deeper than visible evidence. He asks you to believe that there is purpose even in the confusion. The challenge is not simply waiting for an answer, it is maintaining hope while you wait. Every day you continue moving forward with faith, you strengthen a part of yourself that circumstances cannot destroy. Trust does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing to believe that there is meaning in the process, even when the outcome remains hidden. The road may be longer than expected, but every step is carrying you somewhere important. The delay is not proof that God has forgotten you. It may be proof that He is writing a story far greater than the one you had imagined for yourself. There was once a farmer who planted seeds across a large field. Every morning he walked through the rows, hoping to see signs of growth. Days passed, then weeks, and still the soil appeared unchanged. Some people laughed at him and suggested that his efforts had been wasted. They told him that if the seeds were truly alive, something would have appeared by now. The farmer listened, but he continued to water the field and care for the ground. He understood something that others did not: growth was happening beneath the surface. The seeds were developing roots before they ever broke through the soil. Then one day, small green shoots began to appear. What seemed like a sudden miracle was actually the result of weeks of unseen work. Many of us treat our prayers the same way the critics treated the farmer's field. We assume that nothing is happening because we cannot see immediate results. Yet God's work often begins beneath the surface of our lives, where patience is tested and faith is strengthened. The harvest may not arrive according to our schedule, but that does not mean it is not coming. Just as the farmer trusted the process hidden beneath the soil, we are called to trust the work God is doing beyond the reach of our eyes. Not every closed door is a disappointment. Sometimes it is a form of protection that only becomes clear with time. There are moments when we desperately want something to happen, believing it will solve our problems or complete our happiness. Yet later we look back and realize that receiving it too soon could have brought pain, confusion, or responsibilities we were not ready to carry. God's perspective stretches far beyond the present moment. He sees consequences we cannot predict and opportunities we cannot yet recognize. What feels like a frustrating delay may actually be a loving shield against something that would have harmed your growth. The challenge is that protection rarely feels comforting while it is happening. It often feels like rejection, loss, or unanswered prayer. But wisdom grows when we learn to trust that not every "not yet" is a "no." Sometimes the blessing is delayed because the timing is being carefully arranged. The people you need to meet, the lessons you need to learn, and the strength you need to develop may all be part of a larger picture that is still unfolding. One day, what once felt like an obstacle may reveal itself as an act of divine care. Patience is often misunderstood as simply waiting. In reality, patience is the ability to remain steady while life unfolds at its own pace. It is an inner strength that grows when circumstances challenge your expectations. Every season of waiting gives you a choice. You can become bitter because things are not happening quickly enough, or you can become stronger through the experience. The difference lies in how you view the delay. If you see it as wasted time, frustration will take root. But if you see it as an opportunity for growth, every day becomes meaningful. Patience teaches resilience, humility, and trust. It reminds you that your worth is not determined by how quickly your desires are fulfilled. Some of the most peaceful people are not those who received everything they wanted immediately, but those who learned how to remain hopeful even when answers took longer than expected. The waiting season may test your faith, but it can also deepen it. With every challenge you overcome, you become more capable of handling the blessings that are ahead. The delay is not merely about reaching a destination. It is also about building the strength needed to appreciate and sustain what eventually arrives. One of the greatest struggles in life is wanting certainty before it is available. We want to know how the story ends, when the breakthrough will come, and whether our efforts will be rewarded. But life rarely reveals its answers all at once. Instead, it unfolds one chapter at a time. When God delays, He often invites us to find peace not in the future, but in the present moment. This can feel difficult because the mind naturally drifts toward worry and endless questions. Yet peace is not found by controlling the future, it is found by trusting the one who holds it. The unfinished chapter of your life is not a mistake. It is part of a larger narrative still being written. Every challenge, every unanswered prayer, and every moment of uncertainty has a place within the story. What appears incomplete today may eventually become the very reason the ending feels meaningful. Rather than measuring your life by what has not happened yet, consider the lessons, growth, and strength that are already emerging. There is a quiet freedom that comes when you stop demanding immediate answers and begin embracing the journey itself. The chapter may be unfinished, but that does not mean the author has stopped writing. There was once a traveler who dreamed of reaching a magnificent mountain hidden beyond distant valleys. He had heard stories of its beauty and became impatient to see it for himself. As he began his journey, he grew frustrated by every delay along the road. He complained about the winding paths, the unexpected storms, and the time it took to cross rivers and forests. More than once, he considered turning back because the destination seemed too far away. But as the years passed, something remarkable happened. The traveler realized that the wisdom he gained from the journey was changing him. The storms taught resilience. The rivers taught adaptability. The forests taught patience and wonder. By the time he finally reached the mountain, he understood that the destination was only part of the gift. The person he had become along the way was equally valuable. Many of us approach our prayers like that traveler. We focus so intensely on arriving that we overlook the transformation happening during the journey. God's delays are not always obstacles standing between us and our blessings. Sometimes they are the very path through which those blessings take shape. The destination matters, but so does the person you become while moving toward it. And often, when you finally arrive, you discover that the waiting was never empty, it was preparing you for something greater than you imagined. There comes a moment in many journeys when what once seemed impossible suddenly becomes reality. The door opens, the opportunity arrives, the healing begins, or the prayer is answered in a way that only God could have arranged. In those moments, it is tempting to focus solely on the blessing itself. Yet when you look back, you often realize that the waiting season was just as important as the outcome. The delays taught you patience. The uncertainty strengthened your faith. The struggles revealed strengths you never knew you possessed. What felt like wasted time was actually preparing your heart for what was ahead. Sometimes the answer comes exactly as you hoped. Other times it arrives in a form you never expected, yet it proves to be even better than your original plan. This is why trust matters. We see only a small piece of the picture, while God sees the whole masterpiece. The answer may not arrive according to your timetable, but when it does, you may discover that every delay carried a purpose. The path that once felt confusing begins to make sense, and the waiting season becomes a testimony of how faith can endure even when certainty is absent. As we come to the end of this reflection, remember that a delay is not the same as a denial. Just because something has not happened yet does not mean it never will. Life unfolds in seasons, and every season carries its own purpose. There are seasons of planting, seasons of growth, seasons of waiting, and seasons of harvest. Each one contributes to the person you are becoming. If you are currently in a season of waiting, do not measure your progress only by visible results. Measure it by the strength you are gaining, the wisdom you are learning, and the faith you are developing. Trust that even in silence, something meaningful is happening. Trust that every step forward matters, even when the destination remains out of sight. Most importantly, trust that God has not forgotten you. The dreams placed within your heart, the prayers whispered in quiet moments, and the hopes you continue to carry are seen and understood. Keep moving forward with courage. Keep believing when the road feels long. And remember this simple truth: when God delays, He is not denying. He may be preparing, protecting, teaching, or guiding you towards something greater than you can currently imagine. One day, you may look back on this season and realize that the waiting itself was one of the greatest gifts of all.